trust yourself and know that your words are enough because other people feel those exact same things. I really like to get into the purity of songwriting and a story. Oftentimes the best songs paint a picture. You can see it. You can't be afraid to talk because that's how you get the good stuff. That's how you really pull from your life and you make the best song. Today, we're gonna start with the lyrics.
I love that.
It's an interesting thing, with creative processes. Sometimes you don't know where to start.
Right.
And I think it's important to not force it. Like, you have to come up with the chords first. You have to.
Right.
Sometimes it's just, these are the words that I want to say. These are the things that I feel. And we should start with that.
I like that line. These are the words I want to say. This is what I feel.
Boom. We've got our concept.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with a notepad and a pen, and we're going to start writing down the things that we say and voice memoing the things that that just come out.
Forgetful.
To me, the songwriting process, you can't force. It's very, very natural, and you have to catch it when it happens, and you just have to go with it. And it's a feeling that I can't necessarily put to words, but as a creative person, I think you'll know when it feels right. And you just have to go with it. You have to trust it when you feel it.
That gut feeling.
So I'm going to write down these words. These are the words. Say. This is how I feel.
Should we start with the how I feel part or the things that you want to say? I feel like it's two. They're parallel statements, but they're too strong.
Two different things we could branch off of. I'm thinking about the fact that we're saying these are the words I want to say. It's almost like the reason that we're saying it is because we're trying to figure out the words. Do you know what I mean? It's for me as a songwriter, I've always been kind of analytical. And I think you kind of have to read between the lines a little bit. And it's like, you're almost working out your feelings as you're writing them.
Right.
In my process. For me, I really like to get into the purity of songwriting and a story and how it really stems from a feeling and not always, necessarily a hit song or, I'm trying to make a song that everybody's going to love as opposed to a song that I want people to feel something from. And I think that's the ultimate goal. It's definitely the ultimate goal, when it comes to songwriting for me. So if we're saying these are the words I want to say, it's like, you're almost like guessing, I think this is what I want to say, but I can't, it won't fully come out right. What's the conclusion to that?
Right. I guess the next step is to figure out, is it more of a relationship thing? Is it a life thing? Working through the concept, where do we build from this thesis, I guess? Yeah. In a sense, which perspective do we run with? What does it feel like to you? Which is important, like really finding that spark that's real to you in the moment. Yeah,
I think it's both. I think sometimes if I can't articulate myself in the moment, in life, then I can't even articulate myself in relationships, and it comes out in different ways. So it's almost like going off this concept, saying these are the words I want to say, but actually saying the things that you're doing instead of the things that you're saying. Right. Which is a kind of a clever way to explain how you feel. What do you think?
That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like it too. Like, these are the words I want to say, but I choke, but I, punch a wall, but I drop my pen. Yeah. But I sing instead.
I like that.
Instead of saying
so it's like the exact passive aggressive type of narrative exactly. in the song.
Yeah, because sometimes when you feel, and this is how I feel.
Then going that becomes the punchline.
Yeah, exactly. These are the words I want to say, but this is how I feel.
I like that.
It's almost like when you can't fully, put things into words, and then you just start doing things instead.
I like what you said earlier about choking on the words, or that's a dope line somewhere, maybe choking on the words. So, like you said, so I like that. Like, if it's like choking on the words, so maybe that's a verse setup. you know, I can't find the words. So this is not it, but I can't find the words, but so I find a wall instead, you know, or that type of thing where it's just back and forth.
Right.
And then you're giving the listener something tangible. They can start kind of seeing the story.
Right. That's a tip. Oftentimes, the best songs paint a picture.
That is a tip.
Oftentimes, greatest songs, they paint a picture. You can see it.
Yeah. And it also helps the listener like remember where they heard the song, where they were in life, you know, because it's that tangible thing. It's like, oh, wow, I can really visualize. It's almost like a good movie, right? When you watch a good movie for the first time, it's like, wow, I remember where I was because I can relate to that scene. You start building this emotional tie with the character. You know, great script writing does that. And I think great songs does it well.
So right now, generally in the beginning of finding the lyrics before the melody, it's all about writing down the themes. Even if you think it sucks or it's not a good lyric, it's important to include just so that you can come back to it and say, oh, this is what I want to say. How can I say it better? Or maybe this is exactly what it is. Right. So you always want to write down those notes because you never know. They're all good ideas. There's no such thing as a bad idea.
And to that point, I think sometimes the cool thing about lyric writing is you don't have the crutch of melody, right? That's so you true. Really can focus on what the song is saying, what the story is, so that it can have not only that honest sensibility, but something, then you become a conduit for someone else's emotions to kind of like connect to what the song is. So it's really cool to just kind of like turn down the noise.
Yeah.
And let the song live. So
and let the feelings speak.
Exactly.
These are the words I want to say. This is how I feel. We've got choking on my words. We've got a wall.
Yeah.
We've got, I like what you said, passive aggressive. Because that's ultimately what we're doing here.
Exactly. And figuring out ways too, like you were talking about just jotting down the honesty. Once you kind of have these one-liners, figuring out, all right, cool. Now that we have the honest story, maybe figure out the wordplay in between so that it doesn't get too poetic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still a sense of kind of like gravitas to the song, I guess, where it doesn't kind of run away from that feeling of these are the words. Like that's such a strong
phrase.
Yeah.
And a lot of times less is more. I think people tend to want to put a bunch of metaphors, like you said, and then it turns into something else. So trust yourself and know that your words are enough because other people feel those exact same things. And I think that's something you have to remember when it comes to songwriting is sometimes it's just plain and simple.
Yep.
And sometimes you can make what's plain and simple beautiful, but it doesn't always have to be. It's not always beautiful because you paint it like in a bunch of different ways and you add all these colors and all these things.
It can dimension.
Just be, it can just be simple.
Absolutely.
So we've got our concept. I think something I like to do in songs, when writing a H.E.R song, sometimes it's nice to start off the song and have a build throughout the song, like the first few lines, you can't quite tell what the song is about or who it's directed towards.
Right.
Then you get to the chorus and it's like, oh, this could be, then the payoff comes and it's like, this could be to a lover. Then you get to the second verse and sometimes it's like, oh, wait a minute. And you kind of throw off the person who's listening and it's like, oh, but this can also apply to something else, to yourself.
Right.
And it's nice to be able to do that. So it just depends on the why. But for me, universal is always better. But let's see where it ends up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see where it goes. Throw the noodles
against the walls and see what sticks.
Exactly.
See if the pasta done.
Exactly. We're making a big old pasta with this concept. But these are the words I want to say. This is how I feel. We've got our concept. We're still figuring out where the story is going to go, but the general idea is there.
Absolutely.
This is kind of a dark mood. What do you think?
It does feel kind of a moody vibe.
Yeah, I'm just moody. That's just my vibe.
But
most her songs are, in that kind of moody vibe. So,
well, I think you kind of set it up when you said, kind of stumbling over the words. So the actions, like the passive aggressiveness, definitely sit in like a more melancholy or darker place for me. So I'm 100% with you on that.
Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, let's figure out what it is.
I'm gonna pick up this guitar and we're gonna noodle around with some chords that match the music.
Yeah,
I think that's one thing for me. Is the relationship between the lyrics and the music. When you start getting into the music part, and you think about your concept, obviously you can pick up a guitar and play any chords and make any lyrics work. Right. But to make a great song, oftentimes the music has to reflect what you're saying. That doesn't mean it's a sad song, so minor chords.
Right.
It just means when you pick up a guitar and you have to feel where does this concept take us?
Right. That marriage.
Is it
those chords are cool. Feels like a thought, like a
a stream of consciousness.
Yeah, like a stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of like
it keeps going.
Right. Which would be a good place, especially like I feel like with that setup, you could even kind of jump right in with the concept, maybe. For right now anyway. And that's another thing. You can't be afraid to kind of
just dive in.
Dive right into it. And then if it doesn't work, you can't be afraid to throw it away and say, all right, cool. Let's, dive back in. But like I think when you were playing those chords, like it just felt like right off the top, these are the words I want to say.
Yeah.
But I can't find something. So why saw that type?
Yeah.
It just felt like that type of stream of consciousness where that could be a recurring, almost like the verse could have a hook within itself.
Yeah.
And then only thing with that, then the hook have to feel like it goes somewhere, that tension and release kind of thing.
Exactly. I kind of put my trust in my hands today and just kind of.
Ooh, that's a hard line.
Oh.
I like
gonna write that down.
Yeah. I'm recording.
Oh, there we go. Cool. So we got it recorded. You can't, say, oh, I'm going to make a better song because of my musical ability. Right. It has nothing to do with your musical ability.
Right.
For me, I play by ear. I don't know any theory really. I know the basics, but it never helps me in the creative process. It only hinders me, to be honest, because you're thinking of the complexities when you just have to feel.
Right.
And those are the best songs, is when you just feel. But when it comes to chord progressions, you have to trust, that you have the tools and certain chords. So I know I have that. I know I have this. I know I have that. And you kind of just go with it. And if it doesn't sound right, then you pick another one. If that doesn't feel right, you pick another one. Right. And you just keep going until it feels right to you. And he immediately reacted. And I thought of this tempo because it felt like what we were trying to say.
Because it's so open, it allows more information too in the verse. Melodically, the melodic rhythm can.
It's open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything doesn't need to be 4 chords. Doesn't necessarily have to have a turnaround.
Right.
If you like to add those things, you can. If you want to take it here. If you want to do that and then go back, you can. If you want to take it to another place, you have the option to. But I think less is more sometimes.
Yeah. Quincy Jones said that once. So I think we have the concept. I think we got the mood of the concept. I think we kind of know the story we kind of want to tell right now, which can
go many ways.
Once we start really putting melody together.
The roots are there.
So let's water it and hopefully a tree will grow.
You have to water your idea. So we have to revisit our voice note because, when you're forgetful like me, and you're creative and it's just going, you have to refer back to the voice note. So that's what we're going to do.
AKA work tapes sometimes.
Work tapes, yeah. That's the Nashville term.
Yeah.
That was before I changed it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because we went to A7.
Yeah. So sometimes it's feeling out the rhythm. That feels kind of like it. Feels steady, like you're trying to get somewhere. And I think our concept of saying, these are the words that I want to say, and this is how I feel, it's like you're on the brink of something. So I almost feel like I'm playing the rhythm like I'm on the brink of something, like of a discovery. You're just walking that line, trying to figure out what you want to say. Like he said, a stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness.
Sometimes we just loop the chords until something comes.
Yeah. Should I just lay that down? Let's find the tempo, good tempo.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to get a little tempo.
Maybe 90-ish, maybe.
Yeah, that's a little fast.
Too fast.
That's like 80.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So record you in.
Here we go.
So we just have a loop that way. Have the freedom of
thinking.
Yeah.
Not playing.
You do it one more time?
Yep. We've got our loop, so now I don't have to play and I can just think.
Thinking is fun.
Or you can do both. My pocket is nice.
Always.
So we may throw around some melodies based on what we were talking about. We may talk about our concept. We're saying, these are the words I want to say, and this is how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm choking on my words. I'm doing this instead. This is passive-aggressive way of saying exactly this. These are the words I want to say.
Ooh.
Say, time goes by and I feel like it's not rounded, but I can't say it and now it's on my ears. I think I'm living inside a feeling. Sounds like a pre-chorus.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like the pre-chorus is the pre-chorus to me is, the part after the verse where it connects the chorus. And I tend to come up with that part first because it's easy to come up with a transition to something. But that rhythm to me kind of sounds like it could be a pre-chorus or a post.
Right.
It sounds like an afterthought.
Building up to something.
Yeah, building up to something.
Which is always important when, beginning, middle, and the end of a song. And that's also with melodic rhythms. when you're structuring a song, like what naturally feels like you're setting up something, the tension and release, and usually the release is the chorus.
Yeah, it can be longer notes or it can be super rhythmic. I think in this situation, it's probably the more simple thing.
Yeah. You know what it felt like? If that's the pre-chorus, right?
It could be.
It's listing off like, so if the verse is setting up like the scene of you like kind of stammering over your words, trying to figure it out. And maybe the pre-chorus is like, you develop that into like, if I could get the words out, this is what they would be. And then the bookmark that with, these are the words I want to say.
Yeah, like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. And that's a great way to set it up. There's so many different ways you can set it up. It's just about what feels right for the concept and in the moment to you.
Right. You said something about time.
Time goes by and if it's real. And then something like, and I can't tell you the feels I keep inside my head, how I feel. These are the ones I say. Something like that, you know, to bookmark.
Ooh, what if it's like, maybe we can, that's the idea for the chorus coming out of that, the pre-chorus you had. These are the words I want to say. Maybe not this, but the sentiment. These are the words I want to say, but sometimes the words get in the way.
Sometimes the words get in the way, and you just have to show it.
Yeah, this is what I want to say. Sometimes the words get in the way.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say. This is what I want to say, trying to say what feels natural to you.
Right. I wonder if it's, you know, instead of like, these are the words I
tension in that chord.
Yeah, I know. It makes it something else.
Suspenseful.
Yeah, I like that. It's different because you think it's just a plain moody R&B song, and then you throw a 7 in there, and it's like it's like gives it another mood. It's not just sad anymore. It's like it's still a question. Like it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, and sometimes chords can do that. They can throw off the whole thing and make you go a different way.
It's the marriage.
Yeah, exactly. These are the words I say. Sometimes I was just in the way. I can't even it till the time. I did it on the side. They don't honor my day. Sometimes I dare to say the day. But it didn't get it till you find me. Tell it the day that you remind me. You know, something melodic on the end. There's always got to be that catchy thing that the people are always going to remember.
Right.
And people are going to sing, you know, on the end. If it's ooh, something on the end to just bring it home.
And to that point, because the rhythm is so staccato.
Yeah.
On the front end, the payoff could have that legato.
Yeah,
like
just smooth
soaring.
sailing. Yeah, soaring melody. Exactly. Time goes by and I feel it inside, burning out in my head. But when I feel that you did somebody else. Maybe you're listening to somebody else, or you know, you're hearing something else, or like I think one of the things we have to think about is why is it that it's so hard to even get these words out?
Right.
You know, why is it that you could be passive aggressive? And one of the things I think is the main thing is not feeling heard.
Right.
Is one of those things like whether it's in a relationship or whatever. with someone. Everybody wants to feel heard.
Right.
And everybody has been through that where they feel like, if I say this, I don't know how it's going to be received, or if it will be received, I don't know how the person's going to take it. And I think everybody's experienced that. I've definitely experienced that. Like, I guess I just, but I don't know if you'll hear, or I don't know if you'll really listen.
Right. It's that insecurity.
And that's what you really want to say is like, I want to say this, but I'm afraid that you're not going to hear me or you're not going to listen, or it's going to come off wrong.
Really paints that vulnerability too.
Yeah.
The way it falls.
The way it falls, right? Yeah, I like it too. So if it's, something like, time goes by and I can see it. If you hear me, somebody else. Is it a that I didn't say? Sometimes the words get in the way. That's what it feels like.
Like a posting.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Not that, but something that it takes it up and it's just a melody.
That's dope. You know what it feels like emotionally? The melodic structure of it is going from this uncertainty and getting your security, and when you get to the post part of it, it's like you're finally able to.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
This emotion been bottled up.
Yeah, and that's the build that we kind of mentioned earlier when talking about the concept. That feels right.
Yeah.
This concept allows for so many different directions, and we can almost touch on them all at the same time, which you have a good song when it's a universal message or it relates to so many different situations. And the build of the verse going from being very hesitant and kind of insecure and unsure and uncertain, and then the pre-chorus saying, well, this is what I would say if I was sure. But I feel like you won't hear me.
Right.
Coming to that conclusion, and then finally saying, this is what I've been trying to say all along. And then you just hit that note and you do the post, and it feels like you bring it home. And the marriage between the melodies and the concept is what's gonna really take it to that,
Because you even in the post, that crescendo melody you was talking about, it could also just be like that frustration just exploding.
Yeah, exactly.
It could either be like a moment of, I guess we can decide that once, what it feels like once the story is getting down. But like, I love that insecure feeling of that uncertainty, trying to get the courage. Mm-hmm. So it's either that emotion is bottled up, and at the end is like, this is what I'm trying to say, or it's the emotion of an exhale, I finally...
Yeah,
Yeah, I think either one works.
Yeah, we've got an idea of where we want the melody to go and what we want the melody to feel like. We have to keep trying some things, but I think that pre-chorus is solid, and it's kind of doing this. Da, 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 and that's our pre-chorus, and it sounds like an anticipation. It sounds like a build-up. It sounds like I'm trying to get the confidence. That's what it feels like.
Exactly.
It's rhythmic. And then we get to a chorus, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's a statement. And the melody is giving you that statement feeling.
That tension and release.
And then we have this post that we need to find, and I think it's somewhere soaring.
Maybe it's not words.
It's probably not words. It's probably an O. Because we're going to be saying a lot of words.
Yeah.
So we have to be mindful of that too, is not to get too wordy so that it is memorable.
Absolutely. When you was singing the pre-choruses, then it made me start thinking about like, all right, cool, how do we approach the verse? We were talking about that uncertainty. And I think in my mind, when I think of uncertainty, it's like those awkward pauses. So maybe the verse is, you know, the color of the melody, I guess, would be something that's just a little bit more staggered, almost like a thought, almost like we used the word stream of consciousness earlier. Because when you get, it's like it ramps up, the consciousness ramps up in the pre, so maybe the verse melody is a little bit more spaced out.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's just a phrase, and then that's it. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, or, you know, something along those lines.
Almost like throwaway.
Yeah, exactly. Choking on it.
That's a strong first, like the image of that choking.
Choking on it.
Yeah.
Hold it in.
Holding in, choking in. Kicking around, phrase,
holding it. Choking on it. Can't say. Something like that. Times it gets all and all find a way.
That feels good.
In my head, I did leave it here. Listen again, this is something else. Some things I don't want it out of the desire. It's in the way. No one in honest what it feels like. The one that died is what it feels like.
Maybe because that felt like.
Maybe we go straight to the verse.
I was about to say that, and that old thing maybe comes instead of a
comes
bridge.
Later on. Yeah, I agree, because it is wordy. And I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust your instincts.
Trust your instincts. Yeah. Yeah. At this point in the song, the chorus is the most crucial part of the song. To me, it's always a summary of what you want to say in the verses. Right. It's either a conclusion to the verses or a summary.
Right.
Which, same thing. You know, it summarizes what you're trying to say. Like, this is it, plain and simple. And that's the part where everybody's like, yes, the hook.
Yeah.
That's the part that gets either stuck in your head or you remember, the strongest part of the song that you remember.
I like my kids, they mumble through the verses and then the hook is
exactly. Like... That's the part, you know the words too. Like, oh, the part that goes, it's the chorus. And that is the trickiest part. And I think your time is worth, you know, spending on that chorus and like really like getting a proper chorus and the most important part of the song. Like, it's the part that makes the song. So that's what we're gonna get into. There's so many ways it can go. There's so many options for this song, right? You can do a chorus that is, you know, simple and it's just one word. And kind of what we were gonna make the post, we could make that the chorus. If it's a
true.
I wanna say.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanna say, you know, it could be that, or it could be these are the words I wanna say. It's in the way. About it, what it feels like. I'm done it all, just what it is. Cause that's what it is. It's in the way. And I want it out and wanna live right. I want it done. You know, that could be the chorus, right? Oh, it could be empty. you know?
This is the way I'm gonna say.
There's a lot of ways.
If we don't throw away that yet, that could be really strong.
Yeah.
Like if we tell
it feels a little like,
yeah,
here's the chorus,
right,
you know?
on the note, yeah.
And sometimes you want to be a little bit mysterious and you don't want to give away so much
Right.
in the song. You can pull back a little bit and say, you know what? This may be too soon in the song to give this away or to say this.
I think it could be really cool if what we're talking about, like going back to the overall concept of what it is, what you want to say, and building up that confidence melodically and in the story. Mm-hmm. It could work if in the verses is really unclear. Mm-hmm. So like you're saying things that would resonate in the story, people can relate to, but it's unclear where you're going with it.
Yeah.
And then if the chorus come right on those, these are the words I want to say, then I think that's a big payoff.
It's kind of your why. I think the chorus is the why. So we want to consider summarizing or conclusion. It's the why. It's a strong melody. Those are the three elements I think the chorus needs to have. And the melody should bring it home. Whatever you've been anticipating in the verses, now is time to show it and to create it. So
absolutely.
Let's get into the hook. In the music part, since we're going over both, I think there is something pedaling in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Through like the verses.
Yeah, there's something there that should kind of have that like to just
yeah.
Like to really emphasize the rhythm that we want to. What are those words in?
I like that sentiment of time is kind of like running away, and you like still trying to find the courage, and to say it like that.
You know, another thing about creating music, especially in collaboration, is pretty much 80% of the actual session is talking.
Yeah,
and it's having a conversation about. So you can't be afraid, to talk, because that's how you get the good, the good stuff. That's how you really pull from your life and you make the best song, is when you're actually, just trying to work it out and analyze it. You have to be patient with it. Patience is key, because things don't just happen sometimes. Sometimes it takes time and you have to find it. Exactly. Too fast?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's a dope post too.
Yeah, something like that.
So now, organically, like a post just kind of happened right there. So we wanted to make sure that we sing it back. So it's kind of in our psyche a little bit.
Get in the way. Sometimes the words just get in the way.
I like that. I like that. Sometimes I think we should. Maybe now's a good time to really dig into what the hook is saying. Yeah, it's a good time to dig into what the hook is saying, because I love that. Sometimes the words just get in the way.
Yeah.